Welcome to the REALL Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by the
Systems Doctors,
Dr. Sheka Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the REALL Resilient framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. REALL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out.
The Systems Doctors
Alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. The implementation of the alignment framework prevents some of the most common problems in education, where leaders sometimes aren't sure where to start, or in our new age of educating, leaders need a trusted sounding board that allows them to be vulnerable and transparent, preventing loneliness at the top. The framework doesn't just help leaders, but also prevents teachers from burning out from too many initiatives and embracing teachers as they are the experts. Finally, the framework extends to the children, helping them get engaged in school and solving a nationwide problem. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water, succinctly creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in
the Systems Doctors
to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Take a look. People who work with the
Systems Doctors
describe them as an excellent and inspiring group of leaders. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website. Black women are leaders in their own right. They lead their homes, in organizations, and in the workplace. However, workplace leadership experiences for Black women are not often pleasant experiences. As researchers at the University of South Carolina have found, with Black workers being overrepresented in the U.S. frontline workforce, 3 of 4 frontline workers would like to be promoted, but less than 1 in 4 achieve it. In the managerial space, Black workers are represented at a rate of 7%, with 4 to 5% being represented at the senior level position and only 1% being CEOs at Fortune 500 companies. Black workers, on average, are not being hired, promoted, or paid according to their level of productivity, based on their experiences or education levels. Black women specifically earn 63 cents to every dollar that a white man earns. Over a 40-year career, Black women are slated to lose $964,400 due to the pay gap. Researchers have found in many cases, despite the diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, many opportunities, although earned, are not granted to Black employees due to biases and discrimination being present, such as an anti-Black stereotype where there is an assumed lower level of intelligence for Black workers. Create and Educate attributes the pay disparity of impacting the socioeconomic status of the Black child, especially since 88% of Black women are heads of the household in South Carolina. And the pay gap in South Carolina specifically isn't projected to close until 2088. In many cases, this leaves the Black child at a disadvantage, having to take on additional responsibilities in the home. The Build My Sister Collaborative is about providing awareness to these disparities, cultivation, development, and support of Black women through collaboration that will invoke action. More than 1 in 3 Americans are unaware of the Black-white pay gaps. We believe we can improve the lives of Black children by improving the lives of Black women with Build My Sister. There is a quote that says, "If you educate a woman, you educate the next generation." At Create and Educate LLC, we believe with Build My Sister, when you build the Black woman, you build the Black child, and ultimately the Black community.
Great Saturday, everyone. Welcome to episode 170 of the REALL Academy on this Super Saturday, brought to you by Create and Educate with none other than your systems DoctHers, HERS. I am Dr. Sheka Houston.
Good morning, everybody, and I am Dr. Tammy Taylor. Good morning, Sheka.
Good morning, Tammy. If this is your first time joining the REALL Academy, my trustmate in education, Dr. Tammy Taylor, and I collaborate each week to support educators in the field with advice using our REALL framework, which is our way of becoming what we needed as we improved our schools 2 and 3 report card grade levels in 1 year with the help of our dynamic staff members.
Yes, and if you're wondering what that empowerment looks like, through our TrustMate Institute, you are allowed to collaborate with us and other leaders with like goals while gaining our school transformation systems and making them your own. That customization of the 3 systems to transformation, systems of respect, systems of excellence, and systems of accountability helps leaders to forge their paths to transforming their respective schools.
Most definitely. And we pay it forward each week as a part of the live stream network, The Fantastic Four. We started this morning at 10 a.m. with Principal Sean Hurt. Then us, yours truly, Creating Educators at 10:30. At 10:55, our mentor and who we call the GOAT, the AP and New Principals Academy with Principal Kafele, is at 10:55. And then on Sundays, PGP podcast with Dr. Morena and Principal Josh Tovar. So today we are elated to definitely Build My Sister. This is our Build My Sister edition that we're going to be recognizing and building up a sister that we are very proud of. So in order to maximize our 25 minutes, we're going to actually bring her up right now. Good morning.
Good morning.
And let me get this banner changed out. And we have been taught properly by our mentor to make sure that we do the proper introductions. So we are definitely going to be reading her bio. This is Dr. Tracie Swilley. She is the 2024 South Carolina Association of School Administrators Secondary Principal of the Year and the 2025 National Association of Secondary Schools Principal of the Year. And she's from right next door to us in Chester in Fairfield, South Carolina. So y'all show our sister some love this morning. Let's help us build her up. Drop some congratulations and welcome in the comments. And as we're doing that, make sure that you do all of the things that the platforms do, like, share, comment, so we can make sure that this gets out to the people that we definitely want it to get out to. So welcome, Dr. Swilley.
Good morning. I'm excited to be here.
Congratulations again. We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
And just so everybody knows, if you've ever seen a pageant where there's a winner and then there's somebody, the winner's announced, and then there's somebody jumping up and down and you think that's the winner, but it's actually the person that was named. That's me and Tammy, the women jumping up and down, just so happy and just so elated about these the accomplishments of Dr. Swilley. We are so proud to have you on with us. So, in lieu of our regular shout outs, because we only have 25 minutes, we are going to do her justice and read her bio. Dr. Tracie Anderson Swilley has over a decade of success as the principal of Fairfield Central High School. She is a transformational leader who has positively shifted the lives of her faculty and staff and ultimately the educational system in Fairfield County schools and beyond. As a transformational leader, Dr. Swilley understands the law of replication and has many assistant principals who were promoted to principal under her guidance. Additionally, she has promoted teachers within her building to the role of assistant principal and has mentored principals throughout the state. She embodies leading by example to ensure that leaders beget leaders. She has multiple accomplishments other than what we named earlier today, and we will definitely post all of those accomplishments after the show. But she knows that everyone can achieve if they are given the proper assistance and support. She uses data to guide her faculty and staff in best practices to improve student outcomes. She upholds the Fairfield Central motto of Griffins soaring to greatness. Griffins believe, Griffins achieve, and Griffins succeed. The mission that she carries out is modeling how to provide every student with quality teaching and learning experiences every day. So again, thank you all for welcoming her.
Thank you.
All right, let me see where we are. And if we're saying anything good in this episode, make sure that you all drop a BMS for Bill My Sister in the comments. So, Dr. Swilley, they have heard all of your great accomplishments. They've seen some of them in the promo. Tell us who you are outside of the school realm. We've heard your school accomplishments, but tell us who you are outside of that.
Well, first off, I'm a mother. So I'm a proud mother of two, Jalen Swilley and Peyton Swilley. Jalen graduated from Fairfield Central High School last year. He's currently at Anderson University. And that was the best moment ever, shaking his hand as his mom and giving him his high school diploma. So that will forever go down in history. He's actually getting ready to play Go Trojans. He plays football, made the travel team this week to go play Lenore Ryan. So good luck to them today. Peyton is a high school freshman now, so she's here with me. So balancing mom and principal is a lot for them, but they make it happen. Other than that, I'm a daughter. My parents, Pastor Albert and Dolores Anderson, and then a sister. So I have two wonderful sisters. Sorority sisters of the best sorority ever, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. But just, outside of here, I'm just a sister, friend, mother, all of the things that make me who I am. And so that is a big part of what I do outside of school, is just family and friends. When I have time, that's what I do.
Awesome. And if people, they may not know that we have been in the Netscope cohort with you. And I've also visited your school. So I've actually seen in person the great work you do up close and personal.
Yes.
So, Tammy, do you have the... Okay. So we saw the pictures of your school celebration, which definitely looked fantastic.
You asked the question, but you kind of...
Am I going in and out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We saw the pictures of your school celebration, and it looked fantastic. What has been most exciting about all of this for you?
Listen, the most exciting part for me is, I tell my kids all the time, dream big, don't put any limits on yourself. And so this moment, it actually exemplifies what I've told them. Don't put any limits on yourself. Would I think I would be on the national platform? No. But when you trust the process, you do the work, you have no clue as to where the opportunities will go for you. And so it's allowed me to be able to show my kids that you can dream big. They're from Winsboro, South Carolina, because that's where I currently am. But I'm from Eastover, South Carolina. So I definitely can relate to them growing up in a small town, growing up in a school with similar demographics. And so being able to live my dreams and then be able to show them that their dreams are in fact possible, but you must be willing to put in the work. That has been the best part for me. Celebrating, sometimes our schools, based on the demographics, based on the location, get some type of stereotypes that as if excellence doesn't occur here. And so being able to shine the light on the excellence that is occurring here has probably been the most proud moment. We have dedicated teachers, we have dedicated staff. We don't have any hierarchy of our staff. Everybody is essential to the learning process of children. Try to run a school without custodians and cafeteria ladies and bus drivers. And so everybody is essential to what we have to get done. And so that has been the biggest part for me, is using this platform to showcase the great things that are happening in Winsboro, South Carolina.
And just know that it's showing, honey. It is showing. It is glowing. Like everybody sees that the work that you're doing is impactful, and the impact is not just from the award perspective. We see that the kids are thriving, that the staff is doing what they need to do. So we salute you this morning, sister girl. And I almost crashed the party when Miss Green said that she needed. I got to take off for a couple hours because I want to go down and celebrate Dr. Swilley. I said, honey, I'm going too, but I couldn't go.
So listen, I had my CD4 teacher came, like my teacher from CD4. High school social studies teacher came. My middle school was here. So yes, the village showed up yesterday. I was excited.
Girl.
But, I wanted that celebration to be for my school family and my village. I recognize, although the accolade comes from the leader, and I get it, leadership is essential. I'm not negating any of the work that goes into being a leader. But as a leader, this is not a solo mission. People elect to follow you. No one has to follow you. No one has to buy in. And so I did not want a celebration any other way without my school community, my village, and my kids. I needed it to be a celebration. And that's what we had yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning.
But you have to know too, and I want you just to accept it for what it is, because your leadership, you're right. When people follow you, they follow you by choice, but they also can follow you because of the magnetism that you bring. Like your vibe attracts your tribe, and your vibe kind of sets the tone for how the tribe shows up. So I'm very in awe of the work that you're doing, and we, as Sheka said, are spinning around on the stage, just celebrating like we are the winners, because we feel like when you win, we win.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And, being next door, Tammy and I are both Cyclones. So, if we graduated from Chester, Cyclone blood runs through our veins. So, Fairfield has always been one of our rivals, but we can still come together in this work and celebrate you, because like we were saying before we came on, we know how hard you have worked at that school. And just like Fairfield, our district is also small and rural and gets that stereotype. And sometimes people don't think good things come from certain zip codes. So in that aspect, we're right there with you. When we're in our work and people are trying to look for like schools and, thinking a certain way about a certain demographic of underserved children, Fairfield, the one we pull up to show them, hey, the work is being done. Let me show you the district's report card. Let me shout out some people to you that you might not have heard of that are getting the work done. Because sometimes people need to hear that story. They look at historical data of underserved children a lot of times and accepts that as their story instead of believing that they can actually do something different.
Yes, and listen, you know this is serious work when we put the Griffins aside with the cyclone, like taking them away
Oh, we
in
beat
the
the
Yeah.
Cyclones this year. We beat the Cyclones this year.
Oh, but
Yes.
we love it though. This work is more important than healthy competition. So we love it.
Absolutely.
And we love you, sis. And I see that Principal Kafele is on here. We always recognize Principal Kafele, the GOAT. We know you're going to be on with him on his platform soon as well. So
and
wanted to
we
shout
cannot
him
wait to
out.
hear because he
Yes.
Oh,
has a
so
lot more
excited.
time to dig in
So
deep. So
excited.
we'll be there with pad and pen waiting.
Yes. Try not to
Exactly.
fan girl, but I'm so excited.
So one of the things that we like to do with our work with Build My Sister, we like to bring awareness to the lived experiences of Black women in leadership because for some of us, it's definitely a unique experience. Sometimes that directness is heard from different ethnicities a certain way, but from Black women in leadership, it could be perceived differently. A lot of times, that passion may be described for other people, but from us, it's perceived and heard differently. So, tell us what your experiences have been as a Black woman in leadership, if you've had to overcome any challenges and what that looked like to navigate those.
Yes, I think for me, I'm very passionate. And so one of the biggest ones that will immediately that I faced was anytime I had to deal with a situation. Anytime it was something that was going to be, a direct conversation,
Mhm.
instead of it just being owned as a direct conversation and we need to fix this, I was described as an angry Black woman. Uh,
Mm.
and so the same conversation could be had by other people, but because I'm directly addressing you, now I'm an angry Black woman. So, I still wanted to make certain that they understood the seriousness of it.
Mhm.
But I had to reflect on my approach,
Mhm.
how I made certain that, I focused on the message. So I made
Mhm.
certain that I took the time to have the data,
Mhm.
say it's me and you attacking this problem. It's not me versus you. This is not personal, it's business. And so I
Mhm.
made sure I brought that to the table at the forefront. Here is the problem. How can you and I work together to solve this problem? But also recognizing that I'm not backing down on of the fact of if this is impeding the learning of my children, we're going to have to deal with it. If I don't want my personal baby sitting in your classroom receiving this type of instruction, we're going to fix whatever it is. And so, I just had to learn how to make certain that my message was not getting misconstrued in the passion. And so,
Mhm.
I had to learn how to recognize that in myself.
Mhm.
So I started to build in time that I could get myself prepared for those meetings and then
Mhm.
detox because those
Mhm.
were really not comfortable conversations for me. I'm a people person. Like even doing surveys about myself, I found out I care about people more than 98% of people in this world.
Mhm.
And so that was something that I had to learn too because I internalized when it wasn't received.
Mhm.
And I had to learn how to not own that. That
Mhm.
is their personal issue and it is not mine. The other thing was, getting rid of that imposter syndrome. I didn't know what that was until I
Mhm.
started reading about it. But we don't ever think we're good enough. We don't ever think as Black women, we are the person for the job. I can remember coming in, even interviewing for Fairfield Central. When someone brought it to me, I said, they're not going to hire a young 30-year-old female to run a high school in her first experience. But, that was my own doubts on my own self and my own ability. And so really being able to it's not arrogance, but having confidence in your ability to lead and do amazing things. And that also goes by making certain you have a village of people that support and encourage you, mentor you, and, provide you that platform when you need to vent, but it's going to stay there. And then when you need guidance. And so I had that in the superintendent that hired me and Dr. J.R. Green. And so I had that person that I could bounce bounce ideas out of. I had that person that, was going to build me up, was going to encourage me, was going to tell me to try different things. But, also correct when needed to be corrected. But when we walked out of the room, whatever was going on, he had my back, and I knew that. And I had, and so that was, pivotal in my journey as a leader, but also having just great educators along the way and great educators beside you. So I said the biggest thing was recognizing the stereotypes of anytime we're direct, we're the angry Black woman. And how to approach that. And I say to my staff now, listen, if I ask you to do anything that's not your job, go file a grievance.
I know that's right.
I can't sugarcoat that. I can't expect you to do your job. And I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do. So those were the things that I just had to own it. I had to accept it. But I could not let it change that I had a job that I needed to get done that was going to impact the lives of students in our community. So, and believe it or not, your staff is watching to see if you're going to continue to allow those persons who everybody knows is not doing what they need to do. And you'll mess around and lose good staff people because you want to dress the ones that are just hanging on for the ride. So I had to learn how to just address it, deal with it, lay down the facts. I watch my approach and make sure that I was, keeping it to the facts and addressing it that way. But then knowing that, we have to get this done for children.
Exactly. And I wanted to your point about your approach, one thing we've learned in this work is that, this work, we're working with 80% women most of the time. And as women in leadership, we can't approach women the way that men in leadership do. It's almost like that thing you hear about, it can't be two women at the head of the house. So our approach has to be collaborative in order for us to be successful. So I'm glad you said that when you said your approach is, hey, we in this together. I'm coming alongside you to do this work, because that is the approach that's successful for us to be able to be received by women. So
and I think when you do that too, Dr. Swilley, I really know, I feel your heart, because what you're saying is, I only want what's best for these children. What I'm here for is to make sure that I'm doing what's right for students and staff. I just need you to come alongside me. That's it.
Yes. And then just recognizing too, like I had to recognize in myself when I might be too close to something. And sometimes too, that would say that I needed to have a conversation and maybe send my AP to deliver the message that I needed to have delivered. Or maybe another teacher leader in my building that could have that same conversation so that I can get the results. The ultimate thing is we want the results,
That's it. The bottom line comes down to
where it comes from or how you have to receive it if we get the results. So that's the biggest thing.
And when we want to fix something, we want to just get it fixed. Let's just do that. But what I love about your thing, because I know we are running out of time, your decision to take the bull by the horns, because I'm not going to lose good people over the fact that you're refusing to do what you're supposed to do. Because see, those people dig in and they come back even after the apocalypse. Can't nothing get them out of there except some documentation. But you have to be protective of the quality of staff that you have there, because your children deserve it.
Absolutely.
And to the Real Fam and Principal Kafele, we're going to apologize. We know that you all are getting ready to log off and log on with Principal Kafele, and please do. We're going to finish this conversation because it's not every day that you get to talk to the National Principal of the Year. So we're going to finish, and you all can come back and watch the recording later. So if you're Real Fam, go ahead, log on with Principal Kafele. Principal Kafele, we coming, but we're going to finish.
We'll be there later.
Dr. Swilley. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all. So Tammy, you have that next one, or?
I don't have the list.
Oh, okay. It was in the chat. So Dr. Swilley, from the NASSP website, it talked about your remarkable improvements at Fairfield Central. Among Black students who make up 88% of the student body, math proficiency rates rose from 46% to 74%, and reading proficiency improved from 60 to 76% in the last 3 years. The school has achieved the highest graduation rate in school history at 90.1% after just 2 years of your leadership. 81% of graduates in the class of 2024 were accepted to 2 or 4 year higher education institutions. These achievements are particularly noteworthy given that 100% of the school students are eligible for free and reduced price meals. So, a lot of times, like we were saying earlier, this is definitely a testament to your work because a lot of people have certain views about certain areas or certain demographics or certain underserved children. They start to accept certain things as the story, and it's not the story. So, tell us what you saw in your students to get these results, and how did you get everybody else to see it?
Well, I think the basic thing is we had to shape a culture and climate that was going to produce growth. I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times as school leaders, we jump in and we want to focus straight on student achievement, and you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We had to put systems in place that would ensure that the environment was primed to have outstanding learning take place. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't have the right environment, I don't care how great of teachers you have, I don't care what programs you buy, I don't care what you have in your schools, it's not going to work because the environment is not conducive to learning. So we
Mm-hmm.
had to start there. We had to start with shaping the mind of the kids that the expectations for their life were, limitless. And so when I got to Fairfield Central, I was the fourth principal that senior class had experienced. And so they were looking at me, let's see how long she's going to be here.
Wow.
And so they was like, this is the field. What do you expect? And I had to
Mm-hmm.
shape that and say, I expect greatness. And I
Mm-hmm.
think because I know what it feels like coming from Lower Richland High School, where people stereotyped us and said that we couldn't be and we couldn't do and what we were going to be able to do. I knew what it felt like, and I had to show these students the opportunity and the possibilities. And so I found out very quickly that exposure was key. I needed to show them, life beyond Winsboro, South Carolina. And nothing is wrong with, coming back to your community and uplifting it and building it up. But you can go away and get educated and come back and uplift.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't have to stay and just work at the plant. You don't have to, you can leave high school with options of what you want your future to be. So it started with us putting in systems. Even when graduation rate, when I got here, kids were graduating, but were we having the systems in place to keep up with where people were going? Because it was a transient population. And so
Mm-hmm.
keeping up with who was leaving our school and record keeping. So we had to get the registrar involved. We had to get the power school, the school counselors to understand and really educating them on the difference between the dropout for the 10 days and dropping out in power school and a grad rate, and making sure they understood, okay, we need to figure out where they were, where they went. We
Mm-hmm.
can't say 10 days, drop them, and that's it. No. We got to get in there and figure out, are you going to another school? Do you need different options? What's going on? Doing home visits. So changing the mindset, changing the perspective. And then, we had to instill some pride. And so, when I tell them they're talking about Fairfield Central, they're not talking about these bricks. They're talking about you all. And so I had to make them own it. And so we use that mascot of the griffin, and everybody's like, what is a griffin? And it is a mythical creature, but we are very real. And so I told my kids, listen, you are comprised of the king of the beast and the king of the air. So you were made to dominate. And so that has to be our mindset. And so, we just used our matrix of the griffin to talk about how we behave in classrooms, how we behave in the hallway, how we, behave in the cafeteria, all of the things that you assume kids know, that you can't just do that. You have to make certain they understand it. And so that was the big part of the beginning work. So I would tell every leader, make certain the environment is right. Because people will walk into our school and they'll say, it feel good in here. And I was like, that is the goal. You know, it needs to
Yes.
feel good. And then once it feel good, then let's make certain the norms. And, you know, as Principal Kafele would say, the lifestyle, what is happening in there is up to your expectation. And so, you know, that was the biggest thing for me. And after that, you started to see the stuff happen. And I tell people all the time, like when you're in the work, you don't oftentimes see it. And so it takes people coming in and telling you or are saying, hey, it feels good in here. Like this is different. And so I was like, what? You know, this is just what we do. But, you know, recognizing that it's not everywhere. So being able to, you know, continue to do that and upkeep, because culture and climate is not something that's a one-hit thing. You have to constantly monitor it and keep a pulse on it. So that was our big thing of putting systems in place so that the environment was right for learning to take place. That was the first thing. And that took a while. So I want to tell everybody, like, transforming a school is not an overnight process. It's years to do it. But once, it's just like winning. Once you start winning, like, you want to keep winning. You want to keep pulling those. And so you get the buy-in. And so we had to learn too to give our kids some voice. And so that was scary for me because I was like, oh, Lord, what are they going to say? But they really came up with some great ideas and some things that we just didn't think about because we were not kids. And so hearing it from their lens and how can you ask someone to join in and buy in when they have no say? And so, you know, giving them a little voice went a long way. So I would say, you know, focusing on culture and climate was the biggest part of the growth. Then your teachers start to look for ways to help their students and develop. So our gains in Algebra 1 and English 1 was because the teachers, number one, in Read 180 implemented the program with fidelity, but they bought into the program. So I gave them the option to look at it, review it. Is this something that we see is going to work for our students? Because we recognized that they were coming 2 and 3 years behind in reading. And so if you can't read, you can't do any subjects. And so that was a big deal for us. And then the Algebra 1 came up with their own kind of rotation of how do we improve the foundation for our ninth graders and making certain that they are able to build upon their foundational knowledge to be successful in math courses. And so you got teachers strategizing and collaborating together to figure out next steps. Again, it's not a software that's going to fix that, but when you have excellent teachers who are willing to use the software as a tool to help them get students where they need to be, you got a win-win situation.
It's great synergy. It really is. I'm sorry, Sheka. You know how your thing sometimes won't allow me to open. It says that my
Oh, that's okay. Okay, it's no problem. You said so many things that resonate with our stories, Dr. Swilley, from the, you know, we're from this area too, so we took it personally that people didn't believe in our kids. And when people don't believe in your kids and you know this is where you came from, you know greatness comes from here, you know, that's a statement. And so that respect, that's why one of the frameworks, part of our framework is that door, the respect, just for what is happening with the children, what we're doing. And like you said, our door is that culture and climate. That's where it begins, with the mindset. So we love all that. You're talking our language with systems. So and I've seen up close and personal the work of Dr. Swilley. I visited her school because we were looking for a high school model that we could see great things from, that we could bring back to our district. And she's right. When you walk into that school, it has that feeling to it where you know we care about learning here. We're taking pride in our work here. It shows in what they're doing. So she's not just talking. She is walking the walk. And I have seen
the other thing that you feel there, and this is something that I experienced. I'm not secondary, but during a NetServe visit, it was, you could feel the spirit of teamwork too. Like it feels like it feels here. We don't mind getting our hands dirty. Everybody will get in and be a part of the solution.
Yes. And see, even with our data room this year, like our teachers are able to see the data of all the kids in the building. You know, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have a teacher that volunteered to tutor and pull out kids during their planning period. Like, but that's happening now because they see
Mhm.
the need is there. And so you just, like I said, you put the stuff in place. I'm a collaborative leader by nature.
Mhm.
And nobody's smarter than a group of smart people. Um,
Honey.
and so we come together and you really can make magic happen for the students. But, that
Yes.
takes time. And
Mhm.
people have to be able to see the results. And then want to buy into getting more results. And so that's what we've been able to do. And it's just been an enjoyable process.
Phenomenal.
One other thing that we all have in common, Avid was a part
Yeah.
of our school. So tell us about how Avid helped at your school in those Wicker strategies.
Yes, so Avid, our big focus was for our kids was, how can we, because I saw some of the great things that were going on in the Avid elective, but how can we branch this out school wide? What particular strategies will help all of our school students in our school? And the biggest part of that was the Avid binder. One of the things that we figured out was that our kids were unorganized. Having a personal child here, I was able to open his book bag and see stuff everywhere. Like, how can you study for anything and stuff is everywhere? There's no organization. So we started our school-wide binder system.
Mhm.
And so our kids get a binder, they get 4 dividers because they have 4 classes, they get a pencil pouch, and we give them what they need in order to be successful. And we talk to the teachers about checking those binders, not to be punitive, but to help
Mhm.
kids to be organized, because that is the goal, teaching kids how to be organized such that when it's time to study, then I can go back and pull my notes. And I have some Cornell notes in there, that I'm able to ask myself a question, fold a page back of my notes, and see the answer and kind of quiz myself in preparation models. So being able to explain what Wicker means to students and letting our students, being able to nominate their teacher of the month and what Avid strategies that they see their teacher using. And then, helping our kids with organization and basic skills like using graphic organizers. So we know Avid says that, but also with high yield strategies from Marzano, we know that that is one of the ways, again, when you help kids be able to chunk information and organize it for their learning, it always produces results. And so that was the biggest thing for our school, was to show kids, the way,
Mhm.
and also produce and help support the college going culture. Now we recognize that every student may not opt to go to college, and that's fine, but we want to make certain that they understand that college is an option for me.
It's an option.
And that's what, if
Mhm.
I want to do, I can do that. If I want to go straight to work, let's make certain we talk about what salaried employment versus hourly employment, and what skills can I leave high school with that's going to help me get a better paying job, or the military, and providing those options for them. And so Avid was able to be infused in our campus, with our Avid site team, having representatives from each areas of our department, and then they specifically showing strategies aligned to Wicker that we then branch out to other departments in our school. So our teachers start to build their toolkits with
Mhm.
Wicker strategies. So that's what works for us.
I love it. I love Avid, and I saw a big difference with that elective class, like you did at the secondary level, and definitely wanted to take it out into more of the classes. So those strategies really do work. Lastly, because we know that we've held everybody way over, um, with this national platform now, what is it that you would like for people to know about the work, or what is it that you want to spread a message that will help in this work, or that you want people to know?
Yes. So with the national platform, the one thing that I, always make certain leaders know is that we have to collaborate with each other. Advocacy and voice is very, very big to me. And so one of the things I have promised with my national platform is to listen to the leaders, because what may be an issue for me in South Carolina may not be the same issue in California. Learning how to work with principals and leaders who have to deal with unions is not something that I deal with in South Carolina. And so how can we collaborate to be able to help those leaders who are dealing with those types of situations? So advocacy and voice is big for me. Public education is always going to be a platform for me. Although I don't have a problem with any of the other options that are out there, public education has to be right, because the majority of our students will be served in a public education sector, no matter what other options are out there. And so how do we make certain that public education is protected? And how do we as educators use our voice to make certain those who are making decisions for public education hear us? Because a lot of times they're not educators. And so how do, for a long time, educators will say, I don't do politics. Well, we better. Because they're making decisions for us. And so we need to advocate for what is in the best interest of students, because we know it, because we do the work every day. And then another part of what I will do is always encourage leaders. There's a support for teachers, there's a support for students, but what about the leaders? Need support too. And so helping leaders find their voice of being able to say what supports they need. How can these supports help me in doing my job? And being okay with being able to say, I need help. And no one recognizing that as a bad thing. So that is a big part of what I plan to do for the leaders across our nation.
Well, we salute you. Again, we are cheering for you. We're dancing for you. We couldn't have been more elated to see you get the recognition because, like we said, as Black women in leadership who have also turned around schools, we know that the work was not easy. We know that it was not, it's challenging. It can be lonely. And so to see you accomplish that and to be in a small rural area to bring that light to Fairfield County, Fairfield School District, and South Carolina, we just could not be more happy for you. So,
Thank you so much.
yes, congratulations. And we are super, super excited about everything that's to come from this great accomplishment for you.
And please let us know what we can do to support you, because we are definitely your cheerleaders.
Absolutely.
Yes. So hang on with us for just a moment. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We're way over, and we appreciate you, but we couldn't let her go without getting all of this great knowledge from her. Being able to sit at Dr. Swilley's feet and learn has just been exciting. What she talked about, the support, that is something that we provide in the Build My Sister collaborative that we put on for people, our live sessions, and we hoping that Dr. Swilley may even be joining us in that work. And with Transformation Works, the collaboration part is what we offer in our TrustMate Institute. So you're looking at all three levels represented here for school transformation. Tammy has done that at the elementary level. I have done it at the middle school level, and Dr. Swilley at the high school level, and with this national accomplishment. So we could not be more excited. Thank you all again for joining us. We know we got to get on Principal Kafele's page next because we're late, so we're getting on over there. Yes. Any other closing words?
Nope. Keep pushing on, leaders. Let's do the work. We got this.
Awesome. Thank you all again. Oh, and thank you, Pedrick. Pedrick is our person in the background, the assistant principal at Great Falls Elementary.
Yes, thank you
who's been
so
helping
much,
us.
Mr. Hampton.
And also shout out to Principal Hurt this morning. Fantastic job he did.
Always.
Thank you all.